Diane Jenkins Abbott's heart pounded as she stood at the door, trembling, staring at the phone that was vibrating violently in her hand. The words on the screen were more than she could process. Jack Abbott has been taken. The cold fear that swept over her was suffocating. She rushed into the house, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood floor as she glanced at the walls, at the family pictures, at everything that felt too familiar. It felt wrong now, every corner a reminder of the family she could lose. Her thoughts were a whirlwind, but one thing stood out: Victor Newman. This was all him. She knew it in her gut, the hand of power reaching through the shadows, tearing apart her life again. The man who had already caused so much destruction was back to finish what he started. Diane's eyes narrowed, the fire of defiance lighting within her. Not this time. But she wasn't ready. She wasn't prepared for the one man who had been everything to her, Jack, to be torn away so suddenly. She had to get him back, no matter what it took. The door slammed behind her as she left the house, running outside, her breath coming out in harsh bursts as she made her way to the car. The thought of losing him again was unbearable. The night had only begun, and she already felt its weight pressing on her chest. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott's frustration grew as he stood in the same room as Victor Newman, the man who had just dealt him a devastating blow. "You know what needs to happen, Billy," Victor said, his voice as cold as steel. Billy felt his stomach twist, his fists clenching at his sides. He couldn't take it anymore. This man, the man who had manipulated everyone around him, had pushed Billy into a corner. The pain of betrayal was sharp, cutting deeper than any physical wound. Victor was making him choose. Chancellor, the company that had been his father's legacy, was on the line. If Billy didn't play along, Jack would remain in Victor's clutches. The weight of the decision felt too heavy. Billy looked down at his hands, shaking with anger and helplessness. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He could hear Diane's voice in his head, the way she'd begged him to protect Jack, to protect their family, to keep Victor at bay. Billy gritted his teeth. The last thing he wanted was to give in to Victor's demands, but how could he live with himself if Jack remained a hostage? How could he look Diane in the eyes if Jack was gone forever? His decision was made for him, but he couldn't shake the bitter taste in his mouth. It felt like defeat. He didn't want to lose this fight, but he feared there was no way out. The door slammed behind him as Billy stepped out of Victor's office, the finality of his decision weighing on him. His phone buzzed in his pocket, and when he looked, the message from Diane hit him like a punch to the gut. "Jack's been taken. Get him back, Billy, you have to." Billy's heart hammered in his chest, a wave of guilt washing over him. Was he about to lose everything he'd worked for just to save his brother? Could he live with that? Over at Newman Enterprises, Sharon Newman felt a chill run down her spine. She hadn't been able to reach Daniel Romalotti Jr. all day, and something in her gut told her that things weren't right. Her mind kept wandering back to Mariah Copeland and Tessa Porter, the women who seemed to be caught in a never-ending cycle of love and heartbreak. Sharon had seen the way Mariah looked at Tessa, the uncertainty, the longing that hadn't quite vanished. Sharon didn't want to believe that things were over between them, not for good. Sharon couldn't shake the feeling that there were secrets, things Daniel wasn't telling her. There was something in the way he avoided her gaze, in the way his tone faltered when he spoke of Tessa. She was a mother, a protector, and she could feel the unease growing in her chest. She needed to confront him. She needed answers. But it wasn't just about Tessa anymore. There was more at stake. Sharon had to know the truth, especially if it meant uncovering the lies Daniel had been keeping from her. She had to find out if Mariah's heart was still in the game, or if it was already too late to stop the unraveling. She was about to find out that what she didn't know would change everything. Kane Ashby's hands were trembling as he stood across from Phyllis Summers, the words he had been dying to say caught in his throat. His plan was simple: appeal to her, get her on his side, and use that leverage against Victor Newman. But as Phyllis's cold, calculating gaze met his, he knew something wasn't right. She wasn't buying it. He had expected this. He had prepared himself for the rejection, but that didn't make it sting any less. Kane's eyes flickered, anger boiling just beneath the surface. Phyllis was always playing her own game, always 10 steps ahead, and it seemed that today he was just another pawn in her chess match. "Don't pretend you're the victim here, Kane," Phyllis said, her voice sharp. Her hands were folded across her chest, a defensive posture. "You're no saint, and neither am I, but this mess, it's all yours, fix it yourself." Kane clenched his jaw, frustration taking over. His voice was low, dangerous. You think I want to do this? You think I'm enjoying this? This is bigger than both of us, Phillies. Victor is coming for all of us. The tension between them was palpable, the air thick with unspoken words. Phillies didn't flinch. She stood her ground, her defiance burning bright. Kane's proposition had been a simple one, help him and together they could take down Victor. But instead, Phillies rejected him without a second thought, choosing her own path. I don't trust you, Kane, she said, her tone final. Kane's eyes narrowed, anger flashing through him like a bolt of lightning. If she wouldn't cooperate, then he would make sure she regretted it. A plan was already forming in his mind, dark and dirty. He wasn't going to let her walk away from this, not when there was so much at stake. The door slammed behind Phillies as she stormed out, leaving Kane alone with his thoughts. But even as the rage boiled within him, a part of him knew he would go to any lengths to get what he wanted. In the meantime, Jack Abbott sat in the dimly lit room, his hands bound to a chair, the cold steel of the cuffs biting into his skin. He didn't know where he was, but he could feel the presence of someone, Victor. Jack had been through hell before, but this time it felt different. He had been dragged into a game far beyond his control, and the consequences of losing were too high to even comprehend. Victor's cold voice echoed through the room. You think you're going to escape this, Jack? You think your family can save you? Jack's jaw clenched, the familiar defiance rising within him. You won't win, Victor. This isn't over, not by a long shot. Victor chuckled darkly, stepping closer. We'll see about that, won't we? Outside, the storm was building, the winds picking up as if nature itself was sensing the impending chaos. Diane's mind raced as she tried to piece together everything that had happened. She couldn't let Jack slip through her fingers again, not after everything they had been through. The stakes had never been higher. Billy's phone buzzed again, the message from Diane burning into his brain. Jack's been taken. Get him back, Billy, you have to. It was too late to back out now. Billy didn't have a choice. He had to confront the monster that was Victor Newman, even if it cost him everything. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but what neither Diane nor Billy knew was that Victor had planned this all along, and he wasn't done yet. The clock was ticking, and as the stakes grew higher, no one would escape unscathed.